about the working of a carburetor, types of carburetors, circuits in a carburetor, components and working of BS-type carburetors. TPS is used in BS carburetor to achieve smooth throttle response, optimized fuel economy, and better feel of power. One of the functions of carburetor is to atomize the fuel and mix the fuel with air and supply air-fuel mixture in form of fine spray. The regulated mixture of air and fuel is sent to the cylinder for optimum burning. The carburetor uses the principle of a sprayer. When the piston of the pump is pushed inside, the velocity fed into the engine. The regulation of the mixture is done by jet needle and the needle jet. The jet needle closes the needle jet when the piston valve is in closed position. As you can see, the butterfly slide valve is located after the piston valve and is controlled by the throttle cable. When the butterfly slide valve is opened, velocity of gas in the passage increases due to the suction of the engine and pressure drops at the venturi area. When the pressure drops in the venturi, the pressure in the upper chamber of the diaphragm also drops due to the hole provided in the piston valve connecting upper chamber to the venturi. The lower chamber of the diaphragm is at atmospheric pressure. Due to the pressure difference between the upper chamber and the lower chamber of the diaphragm along with the piston and jet needle is lifted up. This generates clearance between jet needle and the needle jet, which results in flow of required air-fuel mixture to the engine.